Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner on the 12th of December. I just have to say this is the last day that this video will be published on Saxo Bank's main YouTube channel. I have now my own channel, Kramer's Corner at Saxo Bank, and all my videos will be published there from now on, and they actually have for the past couple of weeks. So please go there, subscribe, and then you will get all the updates that I do. I will do more updates on other instruments in the new year, on single stocks and other markets. But please go to Kramer's Corner Saxo Bank YouTube channel instead of Saxo Bank's main channel from now on. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the real market action here. And I do have to apologize. I'm sitting next to Ole Hansen, our commodities expert. He's also running a webinar at the moment, so there might be a little bit of noise. You can hear him in the background. I do apologize about that, but that's how it is, unfortunately. S&P 500 broke higher yesterday and closed above the July peak at 46.07, and as you can see here on the weekly, now there's not really much stopping S&P 500 until we reach 48.18, and I wouldn't be surprised if we reach that before year end. So very bullish markets. Of course there will be some corrections on the Nasdaq. That resumed uptrend here yesterday and well actually Friday, moving higher towards the 16,600 level possibly, which is the 200% of this sell-off we saw back here, and we can also add a little bit more here to it if we want to say okay, let's see this little correction here will also give some energy up to, and all that is also around the 16,600 and a change, and very close to the all-time high 16,765. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get there before year end. It seems like we are really in a strong fear of missing out rally. Moving on to European markets. We have the EUROSTOXX 50 that is already at an all-time high. Very strong uptrend. Let's zoom in a little bit here. A very strong uptrend. It's really ripe for a correction, but again, uptrend is strong, so I want to see a top and reversal pattern. I haven't seen that yet, but then I will call a top and reversal at least short term. But we are very stressed on the RSI. It's now above 80, and that is. And remember, it's actually only goes to 100, so it's not like it can go on forever. We need a correction fairly soon, but it's not just there yet. DAX at 84.50 on the RSI, moving higher this morning, also performing a new all-time high every single day. So a very strong move, but still we are extreme here on the strength index. We need a bit of a correction to get some energy to move higher. AX on the other hand is not at its all-time high just yet. You can see here on the weekly chart there is room up to 759, which was the peak here in July, but there's room up to 800 plus. This move up here back about almost 2 years ago, also up to 829. So there's still some room up to some resistance just around 800. Also here quite stretched on the RSI above almost at 80 at the moment. The Belgian market, it's testing 37.28 resistance at the moment. A little bit of a setback here, and let's see on the future that is a little bit ahead. It's actually broken. Oh, we need to adjust this one a little bit. So right there. So we are testing that 37.20 and a change. So also quite strong market. So I think we will break above that level. And there's no divergence on the RSI indicating we could see higher highs on the Belgian market. CAC 40 also new all-time high testing. Let's see here of 75.81. So very close to that, just a few cents below that. So that's going to be interesting. I think it will be tested, possibly also taking out here shortly. Finally, on the Swiss market, breaking this, we have to adjust it a little bit, but never mind. So we have some resistance, 11,244.45, where we have some resistance, and I think it will be tested, and then we should have a correction. It's not as stressed as the other markets, but still it is in a little bit of overboard territory short term. Euro dollar still hovering around in this 107.30, 107.60 support area here. There's still risk to the downside, but I don't think it will materialize. I think we are starting to bounce back. If we get back above 108.25, I would say we have resumed uptrend with a possibly move up to 110 as to follow. Cable, sterling dollar here. Also dancing around the 125.45 support level. We have the 200 moving, as you can see, coming up there, adding some support. The 100 moving average is just below, but it's declining. But I put more weight onto the 55 that is also coming up here. We could still see a dip down to 124.45, so keep an eye on that. But other than that, I think we are in a correction phase, and we will move higher towards the 127, 127.5 after that. Yen pairs bounced strongly, continued yesterday, setting a little bit back today. We were almost at the 50% of this sell-off down here. Now we are setting back a little bit around the 61.8 of the last leg down. I think we could still dip a little bit over. What is interesting is that we have the RSI that is in a negative sentiment. It's bearish territory below 40, and there's no divergence, indicating we could see lower lows on dollar yen. So keep your stops tight if you're long here. If it takes out the peak from yesterday, then we will see a test of the 147.50 resistance around here. But there's still some resistance above. Even if it's break above, we have the cloud here. We have the 55 moving average coming down. So there's a little bit of overhead resistance. So it will be a bit of a struggle to actually get back into bullish a bullish trend. So a little bit of pressure. Expect that downside pressure over the next couple of days. Same picture here on Euro Yen. Got rejected at 157.70. Trading a little bit sideways below the rising trend line that it broke below late last week. We could see a little bit of a setback towards 155 here over the next couple of days. However, if we do break above 157.70, well, then there could be room up to 159.67. Aussie yen also rejected here at 96.10. If it does break above that, I would like to see a closing above but we could also see first break up to 96.68, which is the 618 retracement of the sell-off here. So keep an eye on that. Otherwise, we could drift a little bit lower because RSI is showing negative sentiment. Finally, sterling yen. More or less same picture. It peaked just above the 55 100 moving average and above the cloud, but now it seems like it's trying to get back below here. So the sentiment, underlying sentiment, is still bearish. Dollar index 104.40 is still the key resistance to look out for, but it probably will only give upside potential to 105.23, which is 61.8 retracement of this downtrend here, if we do break above 104.40. Otherwise, we could drift lower towards the 103.20, 103.04 support area, and we also have the 200 moving average coming in here. So I think we will drift a little bit lower. We can also see RSI negative with no divert. Gold touched the 786 retracement yesterday, bouncing a little bit this morning, but not much, at 1974.75. Could potentially test it again. It's hard to say, but what is interesting is that the RSI is still bullish. There's no divergence as mentioned yesterday, so keep an eye on a bounce here. I think we will get a bounce higher. Then we'll test the 2009 again, which is now a resistance. It was a support that it broke below. And then the rising trend line here will also be a bit of a test. But if we get a sell-off below the 1974, well, then there could be potential. There's potential down to the 1950, 1930 area where we have some support there. So keep an eye on that. It's a little bit of a limbo at the moment. Silver also touched the 786 retracement at 22.75. Same picture really. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then there is a room down to around 21.88. Other than that, we should see it holding up above 22.75. Copper really not doing much. It's dancing around this 382, so up and down and what I call the pivot point here around 382. So I think we will see that for the next few days really. On oil, well, it's a little bit boring at the moment after this downtrend here. It's exhausting a little bit. There's still potential down to 67 on the WTI, and Brent potential down to 72. Finally, as usual, on the US Treasury yields, got rejected here at the upper falling trend line, setting back a little bit. So we could see a push towards 4.05, 4% potentially, where we have the 200 moving average coming up. So let's see if that materializes. But we are in a little bit of a stretch downtrend. Looking at the actual future that got rejected or just below the resistance at 11.12 and just below the 200 moving average. So we are a little bit in a limbo. Can it make a little bit of a new peak up here before the next move down? I mean, we have the RSI, and let's just examine it a little bit. We have a little bit of time, so let's see what's the reading there. It's a 67.02, 67.10. So there is some divergence, so we should have seen the peak short term, at least on the US 10-year Treasury future. So a move down to around 108, 109, I think is in the card, but a little bit in a limbo also there. Keep an eye on these levels there. All right, that's a little bit of a long run. And remember again, I now have my own YouTube channel where you can find me. I will no longer publish on Saxo Bank's main channel. You can also find me on Twitter, Kramers Corner, Kramers_corner, and on home.saxo, and of course Saxo Bank's trading platforms. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Happy trading.